Jammie Booker, a man, a Democrat, and really quite bulky one at that, won the world's strongest woman competition, lifting weights, in Texas last weekend by crushing a field of real women who were actually women lifting weights in the competition. The Strongman Archives website standings of the 2025 World's Strongest Woman contest showed that Jammie, it's Jammie, Jammie, Jammie Booker, taking first place in the division, obliterating his competitors who were actual women. But this morning, the standings were actually changed to show that Andrea Thompson from the United Kingdom, another country altogether, and a real woman as the actual winner of the women's weightlifting competition, the Strong Women competition. You see, after everyone with eyes, including some of the women who were actually competing against the man named Booker, made a stink about it, and the woman who came in second was not amused at all. She cursed just a little bit. And Booker was this morning stripped of the title of he had the women's title and now he doesn't, after the events organizers actually finally realized that he wasn't a woman at all. In a statement on social media, the official strongman.com, that's the organization, on Al Gore's amazing.
You know what? How does everybody know that this is a man except for the organizers? The organizers knew what was going on, but then women spoke up and they had to make a change. The organizers was trying to put this in and see if anybody noticed. I'm holding the organizers responsible. This is a man. That person is a man. That person is not a woman. See, when you have these agendas, they try to slide things in there and see if people are going to say something. But I always said what I've always been saying about this transgender and all this stuff, men competing in women's sports. It'll only change if the women speak up. If the women make a big stink and say, hey, this is not fair, women's rights, feminism, all that. And this is what happens when women speak up. They immediately said, oh, wait. Oh, we didn't know. These organizers knew. The world's strongest woman competition organizers knew that was a man. You can't tell me no different. I'm going to keep it real with you. I'm going to keep it no fluff. As always, that's what I do. These organizers knew. There's nothing you can tell me to make it seem like they didn't know. This person was 2 times the size of everybody there. Look how big this man was compared to these women. How does the women know that this is a man but not the organizers? Come on. People are getting paid to push this agenda, and they try to slide it in there and see if anybody says anything. But this person won by a landslide because he's a man. Men are stronger than women. They build muscle. They do things like that. Bigger, better, and faster. These organizers knew. Nobody can tell me no different. I don't believe anything they put out there. These organizers knew this was a man. How could they not know? When I saw the photo, I was like, that's a man. And they were like, oh, the world's strongest man. I'm like, that's a man. People are getting paid to push this agenda. But what I'm proud of is that the women are fighting back. This is what I tell all women. I said, this is your time to shine. This is your time to have a voice and really voice your frustrations against men trying to take over your space. Men should not be competing in women's sports, point blank, period. If you want to be a trans or whatever, you should be in a trans league. You don't want that, that's your problem. But you guys need to get your money and fund your own league. But that's what it all comes down to. It comes down to money. They're not going to get the support and get the money to be able to have their own. That's the reason why they want to get into women's. Follow the money. Everybody that I talk to about this stuff, I'm like, it's just about money. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's about they want to be. No, it's about money. If they had their own money to have their own leagues, they would do it. They will for sure do it. It's because they don't have the money and the backing from anybody to be able to support this with financial money. The left is not going to support that. Nobody overseas is going to support that. So this is why they try to get in with the women. This is why they get in with the LGB community. Before it was just LGB. It wasn't TQ plus and all of that. But why did the trans get with the LGB community? It's because of the money. The LGB was getting money. So the trans was like, oh, we'll get money from that too. This is all about money. If you don't understand this, if you don't understand why they're trying to get to women's and lesbians, just think about this. Who do you know that will spend a significant amount of money on a trans league? What sponsors do you know would support that? Tell me. Would Nike support that? Would Reebok? Would Adidas? Under Armour? Who would support this? Nobody. This is the reason why they try to get into women's sports, because they want to get in that action because it's already a support for women and they're getting the money. See what I'm saying? So this is why you have to understand and be smart and be like, this is why they try to take over women's sports. But what I love about this is women are speaking up. I love it. I love it. But you can't tell me no different that the world's strongest man didn't, or woman didn't know that this was a man. You can't tell me that lie.
Internet, and they wrote, it appears that an athlete who is biologically male, which means you're a man, and who now identifies as female, which means he's confused, competed in the women's open category. Had we been aware, or had this been declared at any point before or during the competition, this athlete would not have been permitted to compete in the women's open category. Any athlete is welcome, sure, but it is our responsibility to ensure fairness and ensure athletes are assigned to men or women's categories based on whether they are recorded as male or female at birth. So, Jason, is that fair or unfair?
I go with the organization. They have their rules, and those are the rules, and so I accept that. And I would say, you said she's a Democrat. I don't know where you got that evidence from, but the most famous trans athlete in the world is a Republican, and that would be Caitlyn Jenner. I'm not so sure that you can say, oh, well, it's a Democrat. It's clearly
he was a Democrat when he made the leap, but
was he? I'm not so sure.
Yeah, he was when he made the leap, but that's it. But you got to be female at birth, which seems pretty ordinary.
Yeah.
And what is it, a Tunisian boxer or something that we're all
and
supposed to change?
And Caitlyn was a man. Caitlyn was a man when
Bruce Jenner. Then he became
Jenner.
Bruce.
Still got
Jenner.
his Wheaties box.
Bruce Jenner. Do you really?
This organization does not have a case before the Supreme Court, but there are two cases this term that I'm covering that deal with this specific issue. It's whether states can require that you have biological sex as a criteria to compete in girls' sports. So you have to be a biological woman, which kind of seems like it would just be fair, obviously, for women's sports. But there's a case out of West Virginia, a case out of Idaho, where the justices will decide whether or not that violates the Constitution. And I think maybe some guidance from the Supreme Court on this will be helpful, not necessarily just for these states, but for organizations like this.
Maybe guidance from common sense and what the entire world has always known.
I'm not sure if Justice Jackson will...
I love that. A guidance on common sense. Boys play with the boys, girls play with the girls. Women, keep on speaking up. You are going to be the ones that's going to keep this from happening, because they're not taking over men's sports. They're taking over women's sports. How I look at this is what I look at as a man. If you want to compete with women, it's because you're not a strong enough man. You can't make it with the men. You are a weak man. So you want to overpower women. That's all it is. Why else would you want to do a women's sport? It's because you can't win as a man. It's because you can't compete with men. So instead of trying to better yourself and train and do all the right things and do what all the other men do, you say, oh, I'm going to identify as a female and win with females. Yeah, you're not a man. If you're thinking like that, and the only way you can win and feel that rush of holding a trophy is because you're competing with women, you have a mental illness. I'm going to say it again. You have a mental illness. Because why would you want to get into a space that you know you're going to win? It's because you can't win in your own space. That's what it is. It's because you can't win and be a man, so you want to go and beat on women. That's all that is to me. We keep it real simple and complex. It's just there's a lot of men out there that are transitioning and playing women's sports. It's because they're losers when it comes with other men. They can't win. So instead of getting themselves better and taking a challenge, they say they identify as a female. You can't tell me no different. What I don't like about this panel here, you have the black guy. Stop trying to stand up for this, brother. This is not your fight. It's just common sense. We need to have a common sense discussion. That's all it is. Should men be playing with women in women's sports? No. Okay, cool. We got that. Should be going in women's restrooms? No. We got that. It's not even nothing to argue about. It's not even nothing to have the Supreme Court. It's just common sense and decency. What we've run into today's world is the people that don't have common sense are Democrats. The people that have common sense are Republicans. But people become Democrats and roll with the Democrats is because of Trump. Oh, you have Trump deranged syndrome. You have Trump deranged syndrome, so your ethics and your morals and your standards go out the window because you don't like Trump. What does that say about you as a person? You're so mad about Trump, but you're not looking at the real issues and how it can affect our kids. I'm in line for common sense. I want you to have common sense when it comes to any issue. Do I agree with the Republicans on every issue? Absolutely not. Do I agree on every issue with the Democrats? Absolutely not. But there might be a couple that I do agree with, right? But it's common sense. Do I believe that men should be in the same spaces as women? No. It's common sense. Now we have to start looking at birth certificates and make sure you were born a certain sex. Like, this is ridiculous. This is just taking off our focus off of the stuff the real issues that we have. So think about it. Why are we so talking about this so much? It's because we're scared to talk about the real issues affecting our country. That's what it is. But I'll say this to all the transgenders out there that want to play women's sports, or men that want to play women's sports. You're a loser. You're scared to play against men. You have lost over and over and over again. And the only way you want to feel that high of winning is competing against women. I'm just being straight up with you. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. As always, it's no fluff over here. Keeping it real. That's what I do. But as always, no matter what people say, no matter what people do, we're going to keep this thing rolling.